It's currently midnight, but I'm sitting in front of my computer, scared, witless. Every moment could be my last. My friend is here with me, and he is the sole reason why my life is in danger. It all started earlier when a friend of mine burst into my house and slammed the door behind him. His eyes were wide with fear, and he laid his back on the door, breathing heavily. I could figure out that he was really frightened, and indeed, he told me his story. He had been living with his aunt for the past year because his parents were in Mexico. They were doing mission work at a small hospital in southern Mexico. The previous night, a bedraggled man stumbled through the doors of the hospital. He was screaming in Spanish and appeared to be out of his mind with terror. They brought him over to a chair and let him sit down. As he caught his breath, he told his story in broken English. He claimed that his sister had been killed by something he referred to as the La Muerto Blanco. He said it was coming for him next. Confused, they asked him what a Muerto Blanco was.
With a look of unfathomable fear on his face, he said that La Muerto Blanco was the White Death. She is the soul of a girl who died years ago. She died by her own hand, alone and unloved. She hated her life so much that she wanted to remove all traces of herself from the earth. So great was her desire of completely obliterating herself that she returned from the dead as a vengeful spirit, bent on killing all those who knew of her existence. She is not dead, but not really alive. She has cold black eyes that weep blood. She walks without actually seeming to move an inch. She stalks her victims like a wild animal, pursuing them across rivers and valleys, trailing them back to their homes. You are never really aware that she is following you unless you hear a telltale knock on your door. She knocks 7 times for your skin, bones, hair, teeth, eyes, heart, and the last one for your soul, which will be swallowed by her. No matter where you go, she'll track you down, and you will hear her terrible knocking begin on the door. You can try to outrun her, but she is faster than any mortal man. If you flee from your home while she is knocking on your door, she'll follow you wherever you go. The terrified man was certain that this thing killed his sister. He tried to tell the police, but they would not listen, dismissing it as an old wives' tale. Next, he tried to tell his priest, but the priest turned him away and shut the doors of the church in front of him. The priest had seen the White Death following him and did not want to get involved. With his head in his hands, the frightened man told that it follows you forever unless you tell someone else about it. Then it strikes, it kills you, and follows the person you told. After finishing his tale, the man stole a car from the parking lot and vanished into the night.
Apparently, my friend's parents immediately called his aunt and told her about the strange man they encountered. They asked her if she ever heard about the White Death. She said she did not, and so the parents proceeded to tell her the story narrated by the strange man. Aunt got a phone call later. It was from the Mexican police. They informed her that the parents had been found dead outside the hospital. Their body parts had been torn apart and ripped off from each other. My friend's aunt had immediately called him at school to break out the bad news to him. As he cried, she told him she couldn't understand what had happened. She recounted the whole story to him, telling him about the strange man who had turned up in the hospital minutes before his parents were found dead. She told him how the man had given his parents a weird and disturbing story about something called the White Death. When he hung up the phone, he had struggled to come to terms with what had really happened. It didn't seem real to him. When he got home after school, he found the front door of his aunt's house standing open, with a trail of blood leading into the kitchen. There, on the kitchen floor, he found his aunt's dead body. She had been torn limb from limb. He ran from the house and across the town, never looking back until he reached my house. When he told me his story, I could hardly believe it. Within the space of a day, his mother, father, and aunt had been brutally murdered. It all seemed too far-fetched, but before I could utter a word, we all stared at the door as a reckless knocking began. We have been staring at the door for a while now, neither of us wanting to open it. She never gives up. She never quits. La Muerto Blanco is unstoppable. I think she wants to scare us. I think she wants us to blame each other. And I do. I blame my friend. It's all his fault. He should have never told me about the White Death. As I sit in my house beside my friend, both of us listening to that hideous knocking growing ever louder, I wish a lot of things. I wish she had killed my friend before he reached my house. If he had never been able to tell me about her, I wouldn't be in danger now. I'm sorry I ever met him, and I'm sorry for you too. I'm sorry I made you hear this story. I'm sorry I ever told you about the White Death. Because now that you know, she'll be coming for you next.